It's our first episode, Lewis. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I'm excited. I think it's the dawn of a new era, AI
Yes,
in the sky era.
dawn of the AI in the sky live stream era. If I look distracted, it's because I'm trying to tweet to everybody that we're actually going live. Because
No,
otherwise, how will people know?
I
Um,
was checking my notifications. I was like, "Is the tweet out yet?" And then we were live. So
yeah. It happens very, very quickly, but we'll let people kind of stream in, no pun intended, because we have 0 viewers right now. So it's just you and I and our special guest. We have a guest today, which I'm very excited about. Let's take a look at if we're actually live. I'm going to my YouTube channel, taking a little peek. Anything exciting happening in your world this week, Lewis?
um, yeah, I've been learning more about AI. I
Okay.
will talk more about that. But yeah, I'm also working on a new Google Cloud feature that I
Okay.
think is going we'll see more about it next week. I'll say that much. But we did announce it at Next, so we're just getting it fully baked and ready, but that is Cloud KMS Auto Key.
Okay.
So that's pretty exciting.
Cool. I think I'm kind of
Anything
spoiling mine. This is a
Oh, yeah.
shameless plug, minus the Connect IO. Have you been to an IO before?
I
Google IO?
haven't. No.
This is my second one. Yes, my
Okay.
second IO. It's fun. It's a cool community event. I think like just being back in person is well, it's great because like we actually get to interact with real human people out in the world. Oh, cool. It is live. We are live. It is, however, showing my default picture on my profile, which is me dressed as Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors at RuPaul's Drag Con. But you
Nice.
know what? We're learning. This is our first episode, y'all, so bear with us. I don't think we're gonna have any major technical difficulties, but first of all, we would like to apologize, but not apologize because I don't think anybody knew we were going live today. We started a couple minutes late because we needed to add this sound effect.
It was worthwhile.
I think that's important because we have a guest today that's showing a demo, and if everything runs smoothly, or someone says something really hilarious, I'm feeling like that's a huge part of our show now that we
Yeah.
play the air horn. Okay, I'm tweeting out to the world, to the Twitter. I'm saying we're going live. I don't know why I'm like being all secretive about our guest. If people are joining, they see the title.
Yeah.
They
Also, if
know
you catch
who's
this
here.
later on, yeah, you'll see it in the title. So
Okay, I tweeted it. Great. I'm so glad that everyone has seen this thumbnail of me as Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors. Maybe that's the clickbait. They're like, what is she doing? Why is she sharing this? Okay, cool. Well, Lewis and I have been working on some segments, y'all. And you need to tell us in the chat what segments you want. Oh, we got a chat message. Bubble Goose is back.
Oh, hey.
Our number one fan. Oh my gosh. Yes. Excited to have you here. You're our OG audience member, Bubble Goose
That's
Vids.
I love that. I knew you were our biggest fan. I You are my favorite fan, but I didn't
Yes.
expect you to be here so quickly on the
Oh
first
my gosh.
episode.
Right? Like
Yeah.
we're obsessed. We'll have to send you some merch. We don't have merch, but when we have merch, you'll be the first to get it. Okay, so we have segments. We have segments to share. Let's okay. Yeah. Oh, gets the Twitch notifications. Yes. So Bubble Goose Vids, when you got the notification, did it say my little Shrek gingerbread pun? Did you see that? Or is that something that that's the thing that we've been talking about, that like if I don't update the notification thing, that it might just say like I'm talking about nail polish. It said Chloe is live. Okay, great. We'll figure that out on the back end. We're learning. Um, okay, so I proposed a segment to Lewis that we are going to try out today. Uh, and we're calling it, we haven't thought of a clever name for it. Meme of the week? But
I
sometimes
can
it'll
use
just
the
be
word.
like a cool, weird AI thing. Okay, hold on. Wait, we should just take a step back. Who are we? Let's let's take a step back. I'm Chloe Condon. I'm a developer relations engineer for Google Cloud. Oh my gosh, we got someone from LinkedIn.
Wow, they do
Hello.
have comments on LinkedIn. That's a nice surprise.
Yeah, we thought there wasn't going to be comments.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello, hello, welcome. Oh my gosh, now we have our second audience member. Um, so we're we okay, I'm Chloe Condon, developer relations and senior developer relations engineer at Google Cloud, and this is
Luis Urena, developer relations engineer at Google Cloud.
oh my gosh, Taylor,
Taylor, hello.
y'all. Taylor and I did Annie Junior together in middle school. She was Annie, I was Grace. She reached out to me a couple of years ago at this point, I think. She was like living the dream, this actress doing hairspray everywhere. And she's like, I'm gonna learn how to program. And guess what? Taylor is now a full-time programmer, and I'm so proud of her. And
Wow.
oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here. Okay, cool. We've got a lot of friends in the audience today. So let's explain what we do. So a lot of our job, Lewis and I are on the same team, is we teach developers how to use our tools in various different ways. Live streams, videos, blogs, all kinds of different formats. And this is our way of kind of sharing candidly with everybody all the cool stuff you can do with Google Cloud. Um, and Lewis, like, how do you explain your job to people when they ask you what you do?
Yeah, I tell them that I'm kind of a teacher because effectively, I think if I do my job well, I'm explaining how to use some part of Google Cloud, one of our tools, and then the successful student goes out and is successful on their own, right? So ideally, if I do my job right, we are live streaming, we talk about Cloud Run, and then after the fact, all of our viewers can go ahead and actually start using Cloud Run and learn things out on their own. So I think that's kind of a good way to explain it.
I love that. I've never used like I always say like, oh, I teach. I guess I do say I teach developers how to use our products, but being a teacher is very much what this is. Like we are
Mhm.
oftentimes experts or sometimes learning for the first time these products and like advocating for them and showing like I think like I didn't mention hackathons. Sometimes we'll go to like meetups, we'll do stuff like
The
that.
talk.
Talks, all kinds of fun stuff. And actually, I heard that our guest is giving a talk at Google I/O. Um, Shameless plug.
Yeah. And
Um,
I only realized it was teaching, by the way. Like I kind of figured it out after my wife met my family, and my grandparents were both teachers. And so it was kind of like a full circle moment for me because I didn't realize how much them being teachers kind of influenced me growing up to enjoy teaching and enjoy learning. And so I feel like this is the perfect
yeah.
job to do both.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think like I don't know about you, but I learn a lot better when I'm having to teach a concept to someone else.
Yes.
Which is always funny because when I prepare, you know, a talk or a presentation or whatever kind of content, a video that I'm doing, oftentimes it's my maybe I'm not super familiar with the product or it's my first time getting up to speed with it. And Debbie and I, our coworker Debbie and I, were actually having this conversation with or she told me that she had a conversation with someone at Next, I believe. Um, that sometimes we forget when we make these videos and we put them out in the world that they're actually helpful and people like
Yeah.
learn from them. And people are like, oh my gosh, I learned XYZ from you, or like I used this tool because of you. And what we love about this live stream format and having everybody in the chat here is that we get real-time feedback from everybody on the stuff that we're doing. So I want to encourage everybody in the chat, like, please, if you have questions, if you want to chime in, if you've got great name suggestions for segments like Bubble Goose Vids,
Yeah.
A-ironic, I like that. I'm making a note of that. I like that. A-ironic. Cute, 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 cute. We love it. Okay, should I show my memes? My
Yeah. Let's get started
A-ironic
with the memes.
segment. Okay, let me close these tabs that are I have a bunch of tabs open that say
So
air horn MP4.
Let's actually, I think maybe we should bring in our guest because our guest also has a
Yes,
meme, and
that is
I
true.
know the meme is a surprise to all of us. So
Yes. Oh my gosh, perfect. We can get a full it's we'll title this video reaction vid developers react to meme. Our clickbait title. Okay, let's introduce our guest. Welcome to the show. Luke. Yay!
Hello, thank you so much. I am so excited to be here and no longer backstage. I got excited about Lewis's teaching thing because that's the exact background I have. I spent 3 years
Ooh.
teaching at a coding boot camp and then 2 years leading an onboarding
wow.
program for a Fortune 500 company. So yeah, I am wildly excited. I'm very excited about IO. And I also think we should do a wardrobe change so that we are all more on theme with the video image thumbnail.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, a fun fact about that image. Let me show the image so people know what I'm talking about. A fun fact about that image, the Audrey 2. So if people aren't familiar with Little Shop of Horrors, it's one of my favorite musicals. When I was little, I used to invite everybody over in my neighborhood and force them to put on the show. Um,
Wait,
and of
how
course,
little?
cast myself as like
This is a potentially scary or terrifying, depending on your age. Like I have a 2 and a 4-year-old. Like I don't want them to be in Little Shop of Horrors.
So you have to understand that little Chloe, this is going to say people are learning a lot about me today.
Yeah,
Little
I'm
Chloe
listening.
grew up in the theater. My dad was a director. My mom was a costume designer. So I was watching like Death of the Salesman when I was 4 years old. And so much so that I was like, they should do Death of the Salesman on ice. Like I was just like a very precocious little child. But I loved Little Shop of Horrors. It was one of the first musicals that I'd ever seen. And I had the movie and I listened to the cassette tape all the time. I was probably like 4 or 5, and it's kind of funny because if people don't know, it's about a man-eating plant that sings, and I never got to be in Little Shop of Horrors, sadly. So I used this opportunity when I was at DragCon to cosplay Audrey, and this Audrey 2 is actually a Tickle Me Elmo that I skinned. I took all the skin off of a Tickle Me Elmo, and I have videos of it that I will share. But if you've ever seen a naked Tickle Me Elmo, it's more horrifying than Little Shop of Horrors,
No,
if you
who
can
has
believe it.
seen
Is
a
it really?
naked Tickle Me Elmo? That's not like a normal experience that people have.
So this is the final product. This is the Audrey 2. But really what I did is I tore apart the Elmo. And all of
Oh,
the wires were still intact in it because when you basically how Tickle Me Elmo moves is when you shake it, it goes "Ah," and it goes crazy. So I just took off all the stuffing and the fur, and then I just like reconstructed it into yeah, what we see here. Anybody can tear apart a toy and make their own Audrey 2. Maybe we'll do a tutorial on the
I
show.
think that just shows how much of an engineer you really are.
Mhm.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
mean, there was a hot second of my career where I was doing a lot of like toy hacking because I kept a lot of my toys from the 90s. So I actually have a video on YouTube that people can check out if they want to learn how to hack their Furby. Um, and fun fact, the new Furbies, they are very easily they have Bluetooth, but it's an open Bluetooth connection. So you can actually program a Furby to do and say and show anything that you want. There's a full GitHub repo called FluffDB, I believe it is. Um, and yeah, if you've seen Mitchell's versus Machines, this is very much of that energy and era. But you can change the antenna color. I mean, Furbies are a lot more technologically advanced than they were when I was a child. But yeah, Furbies can be hacked.
I was so concerned that I wouldn't know what to have nightmares about tonight. And now I've got it. I've got it in the bag. I'll be good to go.
Okay, well, Luke, you are our guest this week. You're our coworker, so we know you. But you gave like a little kind of quick intro, but tell us a little bit about like what you do at Google and what your life is here.
Yeah, so I talked briefly about my JavaScript background in teaching and doing that for 5-ish years before I joined Google. And now, honestly, kind of like Lewis was talking about with developer advocacy, I get to do that, but now with a larger audience. So a
Yeah.
lot of what I do is help people deploy to Google Clouds. So specifically, I'm a JavaScript developer advocate, which means I focus on those using the JavaScript language. But I've done a how to get started with Python and deploying your applications there. And a lot of them start with this similar concept of, all right, you've got some code, great. Now deploy it out to the world, because I've seen so many people build really incredible things and then never deploy them. It like lives only on localhost 8080 or 3000 or something like that. And so, yeah, that's what I do here is I show people how to take their applications and get them out to the world.
Amazing. I could have used you in my boot camp because I feel like I learned everything but the deployment step. There's a lot of things that just have been sitting on GitHub that I should spin up eventually someday. Great. And you are speaking at I/O.
Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be the same topic. I'm not going to spoil the slides. They are phenomenal. So if you are going to I/O, still worth showing up. But yeah, we're going to go through a lot of the same material. It's pretty exciting. It's nothing confidential. All of this is GA and public, and we have open docs about it. So if you were looking for spoilers, I'm sorry, I won't have those for you today.
This is a dress rehearsal in a way. This is just like a sneak peek.
It's a sneak peek. Yeah.
Yeah. Attend the talk to see the slides. Memes. Should we?
Memes.
Would you like to share yours first, Luke, or should I share mine first?
Yeah. So since this is a JavaScript talk and it's related to the content, if you want to pull up my screen, I can go ahead and share the meme that I've got here. So for those who are familiar with JavaScript, there's of course this joke, which is the sun has a certain amount of gravity, the neutron star has more gravity, a black hole has even more gravity, and then node modules have even more gravity than that. And I've never narrated a meme before, so that was fun.
No, that's good.
I think you did a great job. Yeah.
Okay. If that's a separate profession, I'm in.
You teach the art of meme explanation.
I love it. I mean, it's accurate. It's an incredibly accurate meme. That's great. I love it. Does it scroll down even more? The one on the right?
This is the end. I think it just assumes that it's infinite, and it will actually come into play. I'm not sure exactly how many JavaScript frameworks we're going to deploy, but because we have a 5 GB machine in Cloud Shell and we have 8 projects that we'd like to deploy, if we want to deploy all of them, we actually have to blow away some of the projects because the node modules are just so massive. So we will hopefully get to that point today. We'll see how much time we have and when Chloe wants to wheel me off stage.
Great. Okay. My meme has sound, and I guess it's less. And also, if people in our chat have a meme that they want to share, drop it in the chat. I'll vet it first before I show anything on the screen. But if anybody is particularly passionate about a meme, maybe we'll show it on the screen. Okay, so mine. Okay, I want to set the stage for my meme. On Instagram, the algorithm is so chaotic for me. As of late, it has been a lot of. So I'm obsessed with music AI, and of course, this is appropriate because this is AI in the sky, right? And I'm starting to research how to make my own AI music because personally, as a musician and as a singer, I think the advances in music AI are incredible. Like if you feed it the right data set, you can make really, really incredible music. I'm not going to share it for copyright reasons, but if anybody has time, look up like SpongeBob SpongeBob song covers. There was one that I posted on my Instagram story yesterday that was like, I couldn't make it as a blind man, and it was like Patrick and SpongeBob, and it was incredible. But there is this account called Piney Woods Corner. Here, I will actually just show their thing here. I'm gonna open it up, and they're like, I believe this is like a high quality vintage. It says high quality vintage store for gifts, decor, tableware, and more. And it looks like a unsuspecting, just like, oh, it's like an antique shop, right? But they've been doing these, what I believe to be, it must be AI generated music that they've trained off of what I believe. I have no confirmation of this. This is just purely by watching them. I think they've trained it with a bunch of like Dean Martin and like 1950s music. And because of that, they've been showing these. So this is the one that went viral that I've seen on my page multiple times and has sound. I'm going to start it from the beginning and restart it. Okay, here we go.
Dotted pig, polka dotted, polka spotted, tiny little pig, much smaller than a piglet. Pee-wee polka dotted pig, he'll hold your toothpicks. He likes to hold your toothpicks. Put him on the counter. Little spotted, tiny dotted, sweet little toothpick pig. Little pig.
So I believe what they're doing is that
That's incredible.
they're putting a description of the product like as a prompt and saying generate a song based on like these characteristics and this style of music that I've trained it on. And this pig song is like really popular on TikTok, I guess. And so they're making merch of the pig.
Oh,
And pins, like people love. So there's another one that's sassy garlic fridge deodorizer.
Sassy little garlic man, put him in your icebox. He likes to hold the soda. He likes to tame the smells. And your fridge gets stinky, don't it? Come on, be honest. Sassy little garlic guy, he'll look you right in the eye as if to say, I pity the fool. Put him in your icebox now.
So
he looks like he's disappointed that my fridge smells too. Like,
yeah, he's like,
just like
how
get your life
dare
together.
you?
Yeah.
But everybody should check out this account. I think it's really cool. It's inspired me to make my own AI generated music. Just of weird. I'm thinking Broadway. Like no one's doing anything with like imagine training with a data set of like Broadway songs and then being like, write a musical about bubbly sparkling water. Please sponsor us. No, but really anything. I think that like this is such an area that hasn't been fully explored yet. And I'm just like, I'm really excited to get my hands on it. So if anybody in the chat knows what technology they are using to do this, please let us know. Bubba Goose Vid says, this technology is cool. I'm feeling some major Sammy Davis Jr. vibes. Yes, I agree. I 100% think that they just put a bunch of Rat Pack songs as their data set. And now they're like using some kind of generative AI to like make, but it sounds so good. I'm shocked. Like, because I don't know about you guys, but I always notice AI generated voices when like for podcast commercials or YouTube videos and stuff like this. And this sounds like Sammy Davis Jr. Like,
Yeah,
I
it doesn't have
think it's
that
great.
robotic element to it where you're like, oh,
Yes.
this is like a bot somewhere, but it's legit. It's like, oh, this could have played in the radio like 50, 60 years ago.
I
Yeah.
wonder
Well,
if
there's
part of it
yeah.
is that dated aspect because you expect the quality to be lower, like
Right.
having like there's a little bit of static feel to it. So I wonder if you can get away with it more, or like
Yeah,
if
it
it
kind of
sounds
masks
more
that.
realistic.
Right. Yeah.
And depressingly, as you were saying that, Luke, I was thinking we're so used to like the auto tune of it all with like Glee
Yeah.
and all of those that maybe if you do it with a modern song, it's just like, oh, it's just like, but then again, it's also like training off of you're now inspiring me when I do this with Broadway songs that I'm gonna do it with the older ones. So
Yeah.
it's like so it's supposed to sound that way. But yeah, that's my meme of the week.
Hey,
Ooh.
Andre. Nice to see
Hey,
you.
Andre.
Hi, Andre. Hello. Thanks for joining. We're just looking at silly AI stuff right now. We haven't gotten into the deeply technical stuff yet. Any parting thoughts on memes of the week, AI things, thoughts? Are we showing any AI stuff today, Luke? Probably
Not
not.
today. Not today.
Yeah. Cool. Well, what do you have to share with the class today, Luke? I'm really excited to
Yeah.
hear. I haven't played too much with Cloud Run, but I'm familiar with it. So
Oh, Chloe, we got to change that. I am super excited to be here and talk about Cloud Run. So Cloud Run is one of those ways that I mentioned to deploy things to Google Cloud. And today we're going to do exactly that. And my goal, and maybe we hit all 8 of them, maybe we don't, is to deploy 8 JavaScript frameworks to the cloud during this time. And I don't
okay.
have any code written in advance. So this is all going to be live. We're going to do all of this in real time. And if people do want to follow along, I've got a link. I don't know if we've got that fancy scrolling that we can
I
get
will put
going
that
here.
up there while you're chatting. Actually, I already have it in here. We'll have it as a little banner at the bottom of the screen.
Cool.
Ta-da!
Fantastic. Yeah. So it's just goo.gle/js-frameworks. And if you want to follow along, I would not recommend deploying all 8 with me if you want to follow along in real time, because that's just a lot to deploy. But if you want to, there is nothing in here that is not already public. So everything in here is something that you can follow along with on your own. And I know Lewis took a crack at it yesterday, and hopefully let me know if I get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, I remember having a question about that. Please do jump in and interrupt, because I'd love to answer questions, especially if folks have them in the chat. If you're not familiar with JavaScript, please don't run away. I promise this will be approachable no matter what your level of familiarity. And you'll see the theme is actually JavaScript frameworks, but it should work for just about any framework there.
I feel like also JavaScript is the friendliest language amongst all of the various, flavors of it, that like whenever I come back to JavaScript, I feel like I'm home. I'm like, I get like my brain can attach onto this a lot easier.
So I'm a JavaScript developer advocate, so I'm not going to argue with you on that. But my team member Charlie, who does Python, will probably fight me on that. So I'm not going to make a public statement in order to avoid messing with Charlie. But yes.
I can be the peacemaker, because my boot camp many years ago was Python and JavaScript. Fun fact.
Perfect. Yeah, JavaScript does seem like the language where, like, even if you are a C# developer or Python, everybody's like, oh yeah, and then I do, of course, do a little bit of JavaScript, because eventually you get to the front end and that's your option.
Yes. Cool. Okay, let's dive in. Let's see this thing. Should I share your screen, Luke?
Yeah, go ahead, and we'll just dive right in with the first framework. So for those who are unfamiliar, this is Cloud Shell. So you can use your local terminal. I'm going to be using Cloud Shell just because it does a couple of things quite nicely. The first is that anybody can go here. If you've got a Google account, you've got a Google Cloud account, you can go here. And this is a free, included in Google Cloud Shell, which gives you 5 gigabytes of storage. Importantly, that's going to be important today because we're going to have to make a little bit more space for ourselves. So if you want more space, you want to do it locally, everything we're doing today, you should be able to follow along locally. You'll just need to have 4 things installed. The first is gcloud. So that's this gcloud CLI. So you'll need to install that. You'll need to install Node.js, and then that will come with NPM. That's the third thing to install. And then the last thing is Git. And so a lot of those are really common tools. So Node and Git and gcloud are pretty common, especially if you've used Google Cloud before. But as long as you have those 3 things, that's everything I've got on this machine. I don't know. I feel like this is so magical. Like, I feel like I have to explain it like it's a magic trick. Like, I have nothing on my sleeve. I'll type ls and I've got, oh no, I do actually have something is here. So let's go ahead and remove. I've got some projects here. So let's remove everything.
That's how you know it's real, friends. He's
Yeah.
removing everything.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to think that I had. Oh, that one took a second.
It is like a magician. Like, as you can see, there's nothing in my like it was starting from scratch.
The first time I deployed to Cloud Run, it really felt that way. It really did. So like, I do need to clarify, like, all right, when I type ls, there's nothing in here. I don't have anything pre-installed besides those 4 things. And yeah, if somebody wants to follow along, they absolutely can. I'm going to be typing all of the commands by hand. With that, I'll say in the chat, or if either of you notice a typo that I'm making, please do call me out on it, because I'm not, like, sometimes, Lewis, you talked about being a teacher. Like, sometimes you'll like make a mistake so that the audience can learn what that, I'm not doing any of that today. So right. Any mistakes I make are
Does that make us your magician's assistants in this case? We're like,
sure, that feels like trivializing your role here, but yeah, I suppose that's a pretty darn important role in the show. Otherwise, the magician dies at a couple of points.
Somehow, in the last month and a half, I have been a magician's assistant twice. I was pulled on stage at the Magic Castle. I think magic is real because a bird appeared in my hand, and I don't know how they did that. And then, if anybody was at Next this year, the Elastic booth had a magician at their booth, and he took me by the hand. He was standing on this box. He took me by the hand, somehow in the process, got my Pixel watch off of my wrist, and it appeared in the box, inside of a box, inside of a box that he was standing on. So I think magic's real, or magicians.
I thought you were joking. I didn't think you were an actual, like.
It was very real. And he was like, I was wearing this very Google colored shirt, and he's like, you're giving Ronald McDonald a run for his money, because I was in like a very googly shirt. But yeah, my Pixel Watch was in the box. This is not product placement for Pixel Watch, by the way. I say as I'm wearing the IO hat and the Pixel Watch.
No, this is product placement for magicians. This is
Yes,
right.
exactly.
big fans. Cool. All right. Yeah, let's jump in. Yeah, no, maybe. Okay.
Let's do it.
Cool,
Yes.
let's do it. All right, so now that I have those 4 things installed, the first commands I'm going to run, these are all configuration commands that you only have to run one time, and then we'll deploy all the different frameworks after that. So the first one is gcloud config set, and this is going to be our run region, US Central 1. So Chloe, Lewis, we know what this one does. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We're setting the region for Cloud Run so that your deployment launches in US Central 1.
Cool. Exactly. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm from the Midwest. So of course I'm going to deploy everything to my friends in Iowa. So that's what we're doing there. So yes, that is the first step, is just picking your run region. And you don't have to do this, but I'm going to open up 4 tabs at the same time so that I can actually deploy these in parallel, because otherwise the waiting for deployment and npm package installs becomes the thing that takes the longest here in this demo. But yes, that's what we're doing. And I'm going to copy that command across the 4 different tabs here. And you can run all of the commands without setting this default region, but then you have to set it when you go to run the command, or you'll get prompted when you run the command to pick your region. So I'm setting it in advance so that I don't have to do that for every single one of the 8 deployments.
Smart. Thinking
Cool.
ahead. It's like you've done this demo before.
Yeah, it would be thinking ahead if I didn't run into every single problem 10 times before fixing it. But yeah, I like that.
That's the danger of being a DevRel, is we've rehearsed. Ideally, we've rehearsed a lot, and it goes so smoothly.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, but I like that you gave me the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, sure. Smart. Smart. That's what it was. And then what I did there was I set the project. So same thing, you don't have to set the project, but then you will be asked with every single command that you run to choose a project or run it with a project. If you're asked to authorize, click authorize. That authorizes the Cloud Shell to do the things that we want it to do. So now it says JS Frameworks. That's the name of my project. So in this first command, you could just copy it verbatim. For this second command, you need to pick a project that you actually have access to. And if you're following along, that probably shouldn't be a corporate account, because you might not have deployment access. So if you have a personal account, or one where you have permissions to deploy, maybe your company has a sandbox, or your school has a sandbox project, use that project. So that one will be different for you as well. Cool. I'm going to count on you 2 to interrupt me when you have questions.
No, you're good.
All right, cool. Sweet. So I'm also going to copy that one to the others. And in Cloud Shell, you can even see that in the tab there, that it says the project is now JS Frameworks. So you can see that for each of these tabs as I go through them.
I have a very basic
Please.
question.
Yes.
So when does a developer find themselves being ooh, I'm going to use Cloud Run? What's the scenario that they are using it for? At what stage of development?
Yeah. So this is controversial and people have different opinions. Cloud Run is my default. Cloud Run is my easy button for deployment. So what's nice is if you start in Cloud Run, everything is containerized. And if it's containerized, then you can also deploy it to GKE. And from there, if you want, you can go to VMs, but really GKE is powerful enough to handle just about anything you can throw at it. So I always start in Cloud Run. That's my default. I don't know. I don't know if other people have different advice. Sometimes people ask well, when would I choose to start with GKE? And my answer there is if you have multiple services. So what we're creating is a single application, which is a single backend endpoint. But if you have multiple of those that are working together, so maybe you've got a payments service and a checkout service and recommendations service, if you've got a whole bunch of different services that are working together and interoperating, all written in different languages, then you might want to start with Kubernetes and GKE. But otherwise, Cloud Run is my default for everything.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else? All right, I'll keep going. I'm counting on you to interrupt me. All right, so I've got those taken care of, and I'm just cleaning things up just a little bit. So that's the Cloud Run configuration that I'm doing, which was again setting the region and then setting the project. And now I'm going to set up Git. So this is not a Google Cloud specific thing, but some of these frameworks expect you to be using version control, specifically Git, just because it's become such a standard. So this is setting up my Git environment. And if you've used Git before, you probably already have this set, but this is git config global, and then it's my username. And odds are your name will be different than mine.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Fortunately for you. But yes, your name will be different. But besides that, this is the command. So between the double quotes, that's your name. And
So here we have a global config, and previously we had a regional location, right? So what is the difference between git config global and run set location US Central 1?
yeah, so that is like the perfect question. So here, this git config set run region, this is doing it per tab. So this is doing it per tab, where this is doing it across the virtual machine, across the VM. So Cloud Shell is a single VM, a single virtual machine that's actually running somewhere, maybe in Iowa. I don't know if it is, but I would guess somewhere in Iowa.
Somewhere where there's a VM available.
Exactly. Yep. At a Google Cloud data center, there's a VM running that has actual storage here. So here we can, I'm tempted to like go up in the directories and see if I can find where this git config is stored, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. We're going to avoid that temptation. But yes, it is. And so fortunately, this is set across. So I think git config, now I'm going off script, which is always a good idea for a live demo. User name. I feel like this is a more relaxed setting, right? I can
Yeah, it makes things exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So here, yep, in my other tab, I can see right there. So this is a getter versus this one where I actually included the string. That's a setter. So
Right.
yes, all of these tabs now have access to that information. Cool. Good question, Lewis. Yeah. I feel like that is the standard developer advocate, like, oh, I've got a bad question, or like, I've got a stupid question, and then it's just like, nope, perfect. Absolutely. Like,
This is how we feel about questions.
I like it.
I want to encourage the chat to ask questions too.
Yes.
And we will answer them on the air.
Please do.
You spelled global wrong.
Thank you.
Global.
Thank you. Again, I'm not trying to make these mistakes. Global. That does sound like a 1990s toy. The global.
Yes.
Yes.
User email. And I just learned that @example.com is actually intended for this exact use, where like you can just throw things at it. It's not just what we've all chosen. It actually is like a website built for you to use as an example. I didn't know that. I've been using it, like, just hoping that it was okay and assuming that whoever accepted all of my luke@example.com emails was just hopefully going to be a good person. But no, it's for this exact purpose, which I had no idea and was very exciting to me. The internet makes me happy sometimes.
I don't remember how I learned that, but I did know that it was like a legit domain.
Yeah. It's wild. I was really happy to learn that. I just learned that in preparation for the talk that I'm giving next week.
Oh, nice.
I've been a dev for 10 plus years. Yeah. No idea. All right. So that's the git config. The other one, which is optional, but I like to do whenever I'm setting up git configuration, is setting my default branch. So this is default branch, and I like to make mine main. So now the default branch for all of these new projects will be main instead of the previous default.
Nice.
Cool. Still no questions in chat, but we would love them. We're not saying we would love them and then going to ignore them. We promise. Whatever you got, go our way.
Any questions, we will answer them. Well, not any. Well, within reason.
Not the spammy ones.
Yeah. If you ask me about musical theater, I'll probably answer it. But other than that, keep it on top.
All right. So now we've done the setup, and now we can actually go ahead and Angular CLI. And so this is creating our first application, which is going to be an Angular application. So there are multiple ways to do this, I should add. So like there's always more than one way to accomplish something. So this is one way to create a new Angular application. I'm going to be doing what I've optimized for is basically typing the fewest number of characters to reduce my chances of typos because I am actually typing this. So that's what I'm doing here. Now you could make this my app. This is just going to be the name of the application. So I'm going to call mine Angular app, but if yours was to do app or whatever it might be, you should give it the call there.
LinkedIn user. This is our first time I've ever streamed to my LinkedIn. So I actually just opened a tab with LinkedIn to see how it works. I think however you did this is how you ask a question because it popped
That
up
worked.
in our StreamYard.
Yeah. How do you do that? Because I'm not seeing the comment on LinkedIn, but I'm seeing
It's not even showing the user info. This is a StreamYard thing, not a LinkedIn thing, but or maybe it is a LinkedIn thing. But yes, LinkedIn user. I'm gonna go to LinkedIn and see who that was, allegedly.
however you did it, it worked. So yes,
Yes.
LinkedIn user. The last thing I'll do here is say --SSR. So this is going to be server side rendered. So JavaScript, there's been a lot of back and forth in recent years about whether to do things client side rendered or server side rendering. At least right now, there are some benefits to server side rendering to the point where like the React documentation at react.dev encourages when you're creating a new project, can I use a project without a framework? So it says start a new React project. It says, can I use React without a framework? And the answer is basically yes, but we encourage using these frameworks. So these server-side rendering frameworks have become so popular that even the React documentation suggests starting with one of the frameworks. So today I'm going to be deploying Angular. I'm going to be deploying Nuxt. I'm going to be deploying Next.js. I'm going to be deploying Remix, and then we'll see if there's more time to deploy a few more. Those last two, Next.js and Remix, those are both React frameworks. So if you're wondering, like, wait a second, why isn't he deploying React? I am. I'm just doing it the recommended way with a framework, which is like Next.js or Remix.
This is a shout out to Chloe Shrimp Condon. Thank you for your comment. Yeah, it's interesting. I actually have a tab open with the LinkedIn here, and LinkedIn, I have feedback for you on your live stream stuff, but that is not the purpose
Chloe,
of this stream.
yeah, I think you also failed your own bot test because you called out the shrimp in your name.
I know, I
Are you
did.
the AI?
That's a great thing to bring up on the stream is that if you want to avoid robo emails from recruiters or otherwise, add an emoji to your name and see if they call you Chloe Shrimp or Chloe. Cool. And then, oh, here we go. Is the AI in the room with us? Great question. Yeah, I get a username. I don't LinkedIn user. Which send me a message on LinkedIn. Let me know which
It's Jennifer Davis.
Jennifer Davis. Hello,
Yeah.
Jennifer Davis. I don't know why it's not showing your info.
It is on LinkedIn.
It is on LinkedIn, but not here.
Might be a privacy thing.
Maybe.
Look, I noticed there were a few options for if you scroll up.
Yeah.
I think there's like CSS. And when I did this yesterday, because I haven't used any of these frameworks before, I didn't know which one to pick. I went with the default because like that tends to work, but I don't know what each option would have helped me do.
Yeah. So to avoid the angry comments in the chat on all of the different platforms here, we are going to be using the default today. But in all of these cases, it should work no matter which one you choose. So you should be able to switch between. So there it was CSS, and I can't remember. I think the others were Sass and Less, and then another version of Sass with something else, maybe with styled components.
Not indented, and with styling, something like that.
But yes, today we're going to be accepting all of the defaults and then just deploying whatever the default is. So yeah, that's mostly so that I don't have to upset anyone with my choice of like in the JavaScript ecosystem, it's just chaos all the time in that like, do I select PNPM or Yarn or Bun or like 40 different other options for just like the environment and like what kind of installer I'm going to use. And yeah, so whatever the default is, that's what I'm selecting. Please no angry comments about that.
and it's still
Well,
gonna
don't
work.
worry, because on LinkedIn, you can only see the comments when you go into the live stream that are happening when you're in the live stream. LinkedIn, we have some feedback.
Perfect. Cool.
This is actually great practice for you, Luke, because this is like, imagine you doing this presentation at IO next week and you have hecklers. Like, that's what this is. We're like, excuse me, sir, more of a comment, less of a question.
Yes. Yeah. You don't get into JavaScript advocacy and expect not to have hecklers. So you always need to be prepared for that. It's a rough world out there, but
Yes.
all right. So here I'm going to CD into that Angular app. And then, so that was the second command. So to be clear, this is going to be 3 commands in total. So I ran this one. That's the first one I ran. npx angular /CLI. And if you want to follow along with all of these, again, the scroll bar down at the bottom of the screen here shows exactly how to do this. But npx @angular CLI, that was the first one. This is the second one, which is not doing anything besides navigating into the directory. So I'm just cd change directory into Angular app. And then the last one is gcloud run deploy. And then there is one option here that I'll add because it's not the default, which is allow unauthenticated. And that sounds scarier than it is. Essentially, what we're saying is this isn't going to be just an internal application. This is one where we want anyone from the web to be able to experience our lovely Angular application that we're deploying. So if you want this to, maybe it's an internal application or you've got some concerns around that, you can still add authentication like Firebase auth to this type of application. But what that means is allow unauthenticated requests, meaning anybody from the internet can make a request to this endpoint and get back some HTML. Cool. So here, what it's doing is it's building our application. So it's telling us that gcloud run deploy, like we did, is equivalent to gcloud build submit pack. And we'll probably talk a little bit about this, but this is webpacks that it's, or not webpacks. I keep saying webpacks. It's build packs. It's cloud build packs. So it's using cloud build packs. And the reason it needs that is because we just threw a bunch of code at it and we didn't tell it anything about it. We just threw a bunch of code at it and we're like, hey, deploy this application. And Chloe, you asked, why do I choose Cloud Run? It's because of this. We just threw a whole bunch of code at Cloud Run and we're like, yeah, figure it out. Like, I didn't tell it what kind of application it was. I didn't tell it what language. So under the hood, what it's doing in Cloud Build is it's going into our application itself and it's looking at the files and saying like, well, it's got a package.json. So like maybe it's a JavaScript project. And like, let's see if it's got these specific things inside of the package.json. So for our Angular app, we can actually open this up. So we'll say, let's cd into this Angular app and we'll cat the package.json. And what it's actually looking for is this right here. It says, if that package.json has serve : SSR : and then the name of our application, in this case, it was Angular-app. If it's got that, assume it's an Angular app and try to run this command, which is this command over here. And that's how we're going to start this application.
That's easy.
Yeah, and the build packs team has been really incredible about adding new frameworks to this list. So time permitting, we'll talk about how you can actually deploy any framework. It doesn't need to be one of the supported ones, but a lot of these do just deploy out of the box like this.
And
Hey,
I saw Andre.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw Andre asked around the build pack selection process and image creation for the application.
Yeah, please tell us about build pack selection process and image creation for the application. Yeah, so essentially what I talked about, but we can dive deeper into that because that was like the shortest possible overview of this very complicated topic. What's cool about this, I think, and let me see if I can find the link here. Yeah, here. So for Angular in particular, what I think is cool about this is these build packs are open source, so you can actually see the code here. So this is and I should have warned people, this is Go code. So this is a JavaScript talk, but this is some Go code here. And let's see if we can find that here, right here, this string right down at the bottom. Essentially, this is the Go code that says, hey, if the package.json file has this serve : SSR : string in it, let's go ahead and deploy it with that as the start command. So it does the npm install, it does the npm run build, and then if it has this command, it says, all right, let's go ahead and deploy it with serve :SSR : the name of the application, and it just returns that value. So this was me learning Go code a couple of weeks ago, working with the team and saying like, wait a second, what does this do? So this is the value that it uses, which is that value that we had over here, this node dist Angular app. So that's the file that it's running here. That's the file that it's running. I just said like a million words, and I'm sure like 10% of them made sense. What was confusing? Like where are we lost?
No, I think that made sense because I was actually, as you were saying that, I was thinking this is so much easier than I'm accustomed to because my default is a VM, right? My work is primarily in security. So if you're running a VM, there's a lot to secure there. And so as I'm like learning about Cloud Run, I really like how, I guess it's not necessarily implied, but it's almost like the easy button where you can just specify something and Cloud Run does all the hard work to set up the infrastructure for you. And so when you were you're like, I said a bunch of words. I don't know if that made sense. It made sense to me because I was like, huh, that's really easy. And I like that.
Yeah. Versus, I mean, VMs are one end of the spectrum, and then
Totally.
GKE is a little bit easier, but I just think Cloud Run, just like you said, yeah, absolutely, the easy button of those options where you can just go ahead and deploy something so quickly. And speaking of, that was enough vamping for us to wait for the whole build, and there we go. So if anybody wants to, we can at least briefly until it gets spammed, and I'll need to shut it down because I didn't add a max instances. Well, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll add advanced. I don't know which direction people want to go with this today, but I'll share this in our chat because I still haven't figured out how to share it with YouTube and LinkedIn. But if people want to go to our recently deployed website, here it is. This is the application that we just deployed. And I don't know, that actual deployment probably took us 5 minutes, but we've been talking for close to an hour. So I don't know if we want to do 8 more of these or 7 more of these, but yeah, that was Angular, and all the others are very similar.
I'm putting the link that you shared in the chat if people want to go take a little looky-loo at that. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So for folks who are like getting started with this, we have this link down right here at the bottom. Is that the best place for people to kind of try this out and get their hands dirty with stuff? And like, will they be able to just repeat this? Luke, can you show making a change?
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Absolutely, we
Ooh,
can.
challenge accepted.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. So I'll admit that I am more of a Next.js developer than an Angular developer, but let's go ahead and see what we can do. Where would I put this Hello Angular app? If I was Mark Thompson, I would put it in source. I don't think he makes that decision, but I'm going to pretend that he does. And I'm going to say, ooh, is it index.html? Let's see. No, it's not there. So it looks like this is just where the application attaches. So let's go to app, maybe here, app.component.ts. I think it would be there. And if anybody in the chat actually knows, feel free to direct me.
Yeah,
if
let us
anyone
know.
does do Angular development. Maybe it's app.component. Let's see, HTML. Ooh. Doing a random tangent for something I have not done before.
In the meantime, we have this lovely comment from Bubble Goose Vids. This is my first time using all these tools, Google Cloud, Shell, etc. Loving this. Yay! We're glad you're loving it.
Fantastic. That is absolutely terrific.
Luke
All
is
right.
such a great teacher, so this is a great intro to all of this.
Thank you.
and we also have some guidance in the chat. Yeah, there we
Search
go.
for hello in the files or congratulations word.
Oh, that's good. My grep skills are lacking, I will admit. How do I search in terminal? That is an embarrassing thing to ask, but I do not know.
Can
how
you
to
do like
correct
a Command F? Maybe?
a command?
Oh, in the terminal. In the terminal, yeah.
I suppose I could open the editor. We could go we could go to that. So inside of Cloud Shell, this is probably a good thing to point out. Inside of Cloud Shell, we do actually have an editor. So I can open a file and say, open the Angular app, and we can poke inside of that. And let's see. Yeah, this is Angular-app that we wanted to look at.
Much easier than searching in the terminal.
Yeah. All right. I did cave. So part of during my talk, I don't edit any of the files on purpose because I don't want anybody to be upset by which editor I use. So let's see here. Yeah, title Angular app. Here it is. Okay. So let's change this to whatever. Did we get any suggestions on what we want to change this to prove that this is live and it's not a magic trick here?
Ooh. Tell us in the chat. What should we change? What should we change? What should we
Otherwise,
change?
Lewis and Chloe, do you want to provide some random words here for me to add?
Oh, we got one. Oh, world. Exclamation
Hello
point?
world.
Hello world.
Nice.
Can we say hello, Jennifer? It was her question.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering who made my life difficult and it being Jennifer.
Well, allegedly it's Jennifer.
It's
a LinkedIn
allegedly,
user.
yes.
I also got
Yes.
an answer on why it's not showing her name. If I go to the comments on why, or if I go into StreamYard, it says if a LinkedIn user has chosen to make their profile invisible outside of LinkedIn, their comments won't show their name or picture. So shout out to LinkedIn for respecting privacy settings.
Which is the opposite of what we did.
Yes.
Oops.
Also, LinkedIn currently doesn't support posting comments from StreamYard. So when we can't reply to the comments
Interesting.
within LinkedIn. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
From the
All right.
interface,
So
you
we
can go
did
in.
make that change, and then I'm just going to run that same command, and that'll be about 3 to 4-ish minutes before that gets deployed. So maybe we do one more framework and then we call it a day.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So my list of 8, and if anybody in the chat has a specific one they want us to do, my list of 8 is Angular, Nuxt, Next, Remix, SvelteKit, Solid Start, Astro, or Quick. We can do any of those.
Does anybody have a preference? In the meantime, we've got a comment. How can I check logs for the deployed Cloud Run application?
Yeah. So we'll go to our console.cloud.google.com and we look for run. And here's our Angular app. It's deployed and we can see our logs right here.
Beautiful.
Good question.
And do these logs show up in the Log Explorer, part of Cloud Logging, or are these completely separate logs?
I do not know. Cloud logging, Log
And
Explorer.
while you look for that, the reason I ask is because we spoke of defaults. My default is if anything happens, I'm going into Cloud Logging and I'm going to go figure out what the issue is.
Yeah.
You see some of these installing applications, ng build. So it does look like the logs ultimately get centralized here.
Yes. So the build would be happening in Cloud Build. So I'm looking for the start script. I should just search for that command that we were talking about earlier. This one right here. Will it actually log this? No, it won't log the command itself. Let's see. Maybe it will. NPM, maybe it will. We'll search for node. Filter on node, and then will it show us? Okay. So here, Node Express server. What is today's date? No,
May 10th.
yes, today is the 10th. So this is it right here.
Nice.
So it's a Node Express server. So Angular must be using Express to serve its application. And it's running here on localhost 8080. So yes, we'll get the logs. Yeah, cool. Good question. I did not know if it would work. But yeah, it looks like they all appear in Cloud Logging. Cool. Anything else while Chloe disappears and hopefully comes back in a minute?
Yeah.
Vanish to the void. Okay.
We've got this one. What does GCP provide to set up authentication for these JavaScript applications?
So if you're implementing authentication into your own application, If you're willing to use, now some people are very strict that they only want to use Google Cloud, and some people are more open. If you're open to it, Firebase's authentication is so slick to integrate into all of these different JavaScript frameworks. The library and the support around it, the tooling is just absolutely phenomenal. So I would recommend Firebase Auth. I think it's just such a great way to go.
We did get, so we're about to hit that. We just hit the hour mark. Woohoo! Oh, air horn sound. Hold on. I gotta
Oh yeah,
talk
the deployment. The deployment.
We
forgot.
deployed. We deployed. We did it.
And now it
Yeah.
says
it
hello
just
Jennifer.
keeps going. Okay.
And now it says hello Jennifer. So maybe that's where we call it. Not the path I expected us to explore today, but that's the way we went. So we've got hello Jennifer in there, and I think we call it a day.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say, which our handy dandy friend Debbie behind the scenes let us know, is that there is a Gemini code assist feature within logs. Debbie and I were actually playing with it the other day, where you can, if you have Gemini set up on it, you can actually have Gemini explain the logs to you, which is really cool and a really big time saver, and makes my eyes feel less stressed when I'm viewing a log. Great call out, Debbie. Oh, let's see. Debbie. Cool. Oh, look, Luke is pulling up Gemini.
And I think, yes, you can ask, I think, explain these logs.
Explain these logs. I wonder if it's different for enabling it within Cloud Logging itself or Log Explorer itself.
Yeah.
Maybe here. Okay. Explain
Oh,
this.
there we go. Okay.
There. So it doesn't have access to the logs over here in the chat, but if I click into a log and then say explain it, then I can say explain these logs. So let's find the one that was of interest earlier. So it was Express.
Bubble Goose, I have a Stream Deck, which I'm always almost accidentally calling a Steam Deck, which I also have a Stream Deck, but I didn't bring it to work today. But yes, absolutely. I'm gonna make a like air horn one and bring it in next time for sure, so that I can just be like, whoop.
Debbie, thank you so much for for bringing that up, because yes, now we were able to stick to the theme, which is AI in the sky, and we do in fact use AI in this demo. So there we go. Put it on the list. We did it. We looked at our log, and our log did accurately explain that this is our Node Express server listening on port 8080.
Beautiful.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love that we yes, exactly. All right, any parting thoughts? Well, I want to encourage everyone, if you're going to IO, as the hat displays, go watch Luke's talk.
Yeah,
And
come
watch
hang
it
out
when
with me on
it's-
Wednesday. It'll be a good
Hang
time.
out with Luke on Wednesday. Find it when it's, I assume there's going to be a video of it online for folks who can't join in person.
Yes. By Thursday.
Any parting thoughts, Lewis?
No, this was a lot of
Click on
fun.
the link.
The link.
Wait, yeah. So you can revisit the live stream, catch Luke at IO, but also click on the link and try it on your own Google Cloud environment.
Yes.
Yes. Luke, thank you for being our very, very first guest ever. This was great.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. I want to let your viewers know that if I'm not back in a month or so, it's because you didn't want me. I want to come back.
Is that a threat? No, you will absolutely be back. You're our flagship guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I like
Maybe
it.
we'll do
I like
like an IO recap or something. Like we can have you
That's
back
a good
on
idea.
and we can talk all about the fun, cool things and announcements from IO and share all our photos with the class. All right, we haven't talked about how to sign off on this show yet. We will have exit music. Next time we do the stream, we will have exit music. What should we do? Should we go out on an air horn? I feel like we
just
we
crawl
could.
under our desks. I feel like between
Yeah.
those two options, the air horn is the better of the two. So
I'm going to play the air horn sound and we'll end the stream. And thank you to everybody who joined us. We had such a great time and we'll see you. We're pretty much going to be doing these every Friday. So come and join and say hi. Or if you're watching us in the future, join us live next time. We have fun. You can talk to us in the chat and great. Now I'm going to play the air horn and end the stream.
thanks for the invite.